Hello and welcome everyone to IT Pro Guide. Mohammed Nias with you. This is our second video in Azure Networking. In the first video, we prepared Azure Virtual Network and Subnet. I have explained to you in detail about Azure Virtual Network. So what Azure VNet do, it enable connectivity between Azure resources like database, storage, cloud virtual machines. So in this video, I'm going to show to you how to create a virtual machine in Azure, then how to connect it to Azure VNet, and also how you can add additional network interface to cloud virtual machine, how you can remove it. So these are the regular or most frequent tasks that you do in on-premises with the virtual machines implementation. So the aim of this video is to give you a guidance on how to connect your VMs to Azure Network. So during the demo, I will explain all the field that you need to fill it up to create and to connect Azure VMs to network. And also you will get a clear understanding about what each field mean in Azure networking. Before we go to the demo, I think it's good to understand or to make a clarity on the virtual machines communication in VNet. So VMs in the same VNet, even if they are in different subnet, they can communicate each other by default. VMs in different VNet, it means you have multiple VNet and you place VMs on both the VNet. Then to communicate between this VM in different VNet, you need virtual network peering. And the only requirement to start the demonstration, you need an Azure subscription. If you don't have an Azure subscription, then go and create a trial subscription that is available for 1 month, $200 credit. That's enough to play with Microsoft Azure to learn and to do some POCs. You can utilize it. So let's create our first virtual machine. So let's log into portal.azure.com. Then sign in with your Azure credentials. Once you are in, you have two options. You can create it from here. You can see some of the services are highlighted here, or you can just go here and go to all services, and from here you can search for virtual machines. I'm gonna select from here. You can create from here. Just click to create. To create a virtual machine in Azure, we need to fill up all these details about the availability, about the virtual machine name, username and password, and what kind of access you need and all. When you choose region, you have to make sure that the virtual network, the VNet that you have created, also in the same region. If you don't have a VNet, you can create it actually from here. Anyway, let's go back and find out the region that we created for virtual network in the previous video. This was the virtual network that we created, and this is East US. So we need to create virtual machine also in the same region, because in the previous video I told you that the VNet is scoped to the region and subscription. So if you create VNet in different region and virtual machine in another region, you cannot attach any network interface to that VNet. Let's again click on create virtual machine, then select a resource group. I'm going to create network demo Azure, because this is the resource group that we created in the previous video, so that I can logically structure all the components into one resource group. Then let's give a name here, demo VM1. Then I have selected the same region. Then it is asking some other options like the availability options and also the operating system here. I'm going to choose Windows Server 2016 Data Center. Then these are all related to the virtual machines, so I'm not going deep into these sections that we will see in another series. So we'll just create an administrator account. And then from here you can see you need to connect this to public inbound ports that you can choose from here, and you can select what are all the ports that you need to open. Here you will find only the common ports. For example, HTTPS, HTTP, SSH, RDP. These are the common ports that usually we use to connect to the machines. It is only required if you have a plan that the ports need to be accessible from the internet. So anyway, for this demonstration, I'm going to select allow selected ports, and also I choose RDP here. Then click to next disk. This will give you some options to choose the disk type that you need. Default it is premium disk SSD. Click next, and that takes us to the networking options. You can see there are some virtual network by default selected. Those are the network available in Azure that was created for another projects. And the demo test is the one we created in the previous demo, the first video, or you can create it a new virtual network from the same place. And there are two subnets available. One is test and another one is production. Let's choose test one. Then we have public IP option. So by default, a public IP is available for the virtual machines that you created. If you don't want a public IP, then you can just click none. And also there are network security group, that is our next topic. So I'm not going to explain this here. Then the public inbound ports, this is what we saw in the beginning. Also you have option again to select or unselect from here. Then we have accelerated networking. From the name itself, you can understand this is something improve the performance of your virtual machine networking communication. So those who have dealt with Hyper-V and VMware networking, you might know about single root IO virtualization, where your virtual machines can directly connect to the physical network. So the Azure implementation of single root IO virtualization is called accelerated networking. It means that once you enable accelerated networking, it enable single root IO virtualization to a virtual machine, and this allow virtual machine to directly talk to the network adapter. It bypasses the virtual transport layer, that is a virtual switch. So virtual machine traffic no longer passes through the virtual switch, it directly talk to the network adapter, and this is gonna help us to improve the performance because it bypasses the host from the data path, that reduce the latency, and also it give higher CPU space also for us. Then the load balancing option, we have a complete session about load balancing in the coming video. So next is about the management and advanced options. So I'm not going to explain those part because the scope of this video is to explain about the networking part only. So I'm going to click review. That will review the configuration, and if there is any configuration error, that will be displayed here. And you can see I have set RDP port that is open to the internet. It is only recommended for the testing. So otherwise you can just limit the RDP to a public IP, so that it's a good option. Otherwise you can use VPN connectivity. So there are different options to secure this. We will see one by one. For now we will just click to create the virtual machine. You can see the deployment progress here. Now the deployment has completed. Let's go back to the virtual machine and connect it to this virtual machine. Now you can see we have a public IP address to access this machine, and you can just click connect. That will give you another window here. Then you can download the RDP file, just save it and open it. This is remote desktop application, the same application that we use to connect remote desktops in Windows. So just click on it, then enter the username and password that you have given. Now you can see we connected to the Azure Virtual Machine. Now let us add one more network interface. Sometime you may need multiple interface for one virtual machine. So let us see how to do this. I'm going to minimize this one. Then from the networking, you can attach network interface. Click on it, create a network interface, then give a name here. Then you have subnet option. In the previous one we selected test. Here we're going to go with the protection. Then you have IP address assignment option. You can choose static or dynamic. And below that you can see there is a network security group. Here we're going to skip this step, and I will show you how to add the network security group later. Then you have to make sure that you put in the same resource group. Then the location you cannot change it because the scope of this VNet to this region or location. So you cannot change the location of VNet. So just click to create. You can see the status of creating a new network interface from here. Now the network interface has created. Let's go and stop this virtual machine. That you can do it from here. Select, then click to stop, then click yes. Because to add an additional network interface, you need to stop the virtual machine. Now you can see the status has changed to stopped. Let's go to the virtual machine, then go to the networking. Then from here, now you can attach the network interface. Click OK. This is gonna add an additional network interface to this virtual machine. So there will be two network interface card for this one. Now you can see there is an additional tab available near to the first network interface card, and you can see there is no rules available because there is no effective security rules assigned to this one. Because when we create this network interface, we deliberately skipped the network security group, but in the first interface you can see there are rules assigned, and because there is a network security group is assigned to this network interface. So let us see how to assign a network security group to this new network interface card. For that, you can go to effective security rules. Then if you want, you can assign the network security from here. You can see this is the same network security group that have assigned to the previous network interface card. Now I have assigned this network interface to demo VM NSG. This is the default security group that have created with the virtual machine. Now go back and you can see now the rules has listed here, because now it is a part of this network security group. So this is how you can add or attach a network interface to a cloud virtual machine, and you can detach it also from here the same way. To detach it also, you need to stop it. Now you can see the interface has detached also. So this is how to attach and detach a network interface. So when you detach a network interface, so you need to make sure that the virtual machine is stopped, because after I attach the network interface, I didn't stop the virtual machine. That is why I able to successfully detach the network interface that we have just added. So you have to stop the virtual machine before you detach or attach a network interface. So that is all. Thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about network security group. That is more important. We will cover some of the portions related to virtual machine also in there. So subscribe my YouTube channel for more videos, and thank you for watching this video.